Welcome to our YouTube channel. Here recap movie clip. It is revealed at the start of the film, that a mountain king monster lives amid of the mountains at a distance. He is sleeping now. No one visits here if he moves there. And a kingdom is shown here where a princess is seen. That king mountain monster will abduct the princess if she does not get married before 18 years old. And this princess name is Kristin. And Kristin's father wanted to marry her with other kingdom's prince named Frederick. But Kristin rejects the marriage proposal. Her father says to her that, tomorrow is your birthday. And you will reach at the age of 18 years on coming day. So you will have to be married. But Kristin does not agree with her father. She comes to the woods, leaving her castle. And a boy named Espen is shown who is the son of a poor man. And he had come to forest in search of food. Suddenly, he is confused, seeing Kristin's horse. And he falls into the water in fear. Kristin helps him here. Then Espen asks her for the food. And Kristin had much appetite here that, Kristin eats all the food of Espen, who surprises while observing her. And Kristin moves away after taking meal. After this, Espen tells his name to her as she departs. But Kristin leaves from there saying, thanks. And she does not reveal her name to him. Later, Espen returns to home, and his father demands the edible things from him. But there was only one left apple to Espen. After this, his father gets angry from him. After this, he sends other two siblings of Espen to the forest to bring food. When Espen is alone at home at night, then he realizes as any monster is in his surroundings. And he begins to spin a wire after setting it on fire. Now the whole house set on fire because of that wire. In some way, Espen escapes from there. On the other side, Kristin is seen, who was wandering in the forest at night. At the same time, she hears the sound of something there. Her horses galloped in fear after falling her down. Then a giant monster takes Kristin with her, appearing there. On the other side, when Espen's father returns to home, then he observes that the whole house was burnt. Seeing it, he becomes so worried. And Espen tells him that, it had happened because of a monster. I have witnessed it. After this, Prince Frederick approaches with his attendants. And he asks Espen about Kristin. Everyone negates him. Now Espen had known here that girl was Princess Kristin with whom he had met in the forest. When Prince Frederick asks about this to Espen, then he is confused. Now Frederick had started to suspect Espen. He places his sword on Espen. And he says, tell me about Kristin quickly. Espen's father tells Frederick that he witnesses monsters. And Frederick and his attendant begin to laugh at this. That Espen still believes in old myths. Now Espen asks question from Frederick, what will you do with Kristin? Frederick tells him that I will marry Kristin. And I will own her castle after marrying her. Afterwards, I will kill her. And I will award that person who will help me to search for her. Now Espen's father gives some money to both of his sons after the departure of Frederick. And he says that we will have to search for Kristin. Due to this, we will be awarded. And we can rebuild our house. After this, Espen asks his father, what should he do? And Espen's father says to him, you may go anywhere where you want. Never return here again now. Hearing it, Espen is dejected. In spite of forbidding of his father, Espen goes along with his brothers. Now he discovers a mirror on the way of the forest, which he keeps. After this, they three of them hear the voice of an old lady on the way, who was asking for help. But Espen's brother do not focus on this. They move ahead. But Espen alone chases this voice. Now Espen witnesses a witch on that way which had a long nose. And she had entrapped in the wood. Now Espen helps that witch. That witch asks him that, what are you doing here? Espen tells her that, we have come to search for the Princess Kristin. And that witch tells him that a mountain king monster has abducted the princess. There is one way if you want to rescue her, you will have to kill that monster. And that monster will be died only with a single thing, it is a magical sword which is at the bottom of a stream. Espen asks that witch, from where will I discover that stream? Then witch hands him over a magical map while saying, you will discover the stream, walking this route. On the opposite side, a man comes to king. And he reveals to him that his daughter Princess Kristin has been abducted by the mountain monster. Contrarily, Espen's brothers are seen who find the golden apples on the way. And his both brothers eat apples one by one, picking from that basket. After this, when they eat those apples, then some of the girls arrive to them. They say to them, come with us. And they both go with those girls after being trapped by the words of those girls. On the other side, Espen was following the map. The path is ended while moving further. Espen also discovers a golden apple there. Espen eats that apple. A cave's door is opened as he eats it. Now Espen comes into that cave, where he also finds his brother. And they are taking meal with those girls. Then a girl also invites him for a meal. But Espen was witnessing many worms in place of the meal. Meanwhile, a girl offers him a golden apple. But everything was seeming wrong to Espen. So Espen pretends to eat this apple. And he drops that apple down. Espen had not eaten the apple, so he had stated to witness the reality because of not eating it. Those all girls were witches. When Espen knows all the reality, then he brings his both brothers out from the cave, rescuing them. Then a witch attacks them. But they come outside after being protected from cave. Espen tells his brothers on the way, there is also the same giant monster as there were these witches. It is not a myth but a reality. Because that monster only appears at night. It will be turned into stone if it comes in daylight. On the other side, Kristin is seen who was bound in a cave. And there was only single narrow way to leave that cave. It was so high. Now that monster enters its hand into the cave from a hole there. And he gives some bones to Kristin for eating. Kristin pretends to eat them and says to that monsters, "These are delicious." On the opposite side, Espen and his brothers moved to a hotel while following that map. There was also Frederick in that hotel. They reach that hotel now. After this, Espen asks that magical map about that way of getting magical sword. Meantime, Frederick's one of the companions cast a glace at Espen. And Frederick asks Kristin, coming to Espen. And Frederick asks that map from Espen here. He also hands some money to Espen. On this, Espen's brother says to him, "Give that map to Frederick." But Espen forbids to hand the map over to Frederick. Frederick gets aggressive on Espen. And Espen throws the meal placed on the table on the face of Frederick. And a great fight begins between them. Then Frederick's foot comes on the foot of one person. And this man flies into rage on this action. And he throws Frederick far away. Taking the advantage of it, Espen and his brother escape from that hotel. But Frederick and his attendants comes after Espen and his brothers while following. Now Espen and his brothers come to a ditch. There was not further way to escape. Now Espen and his two brothers jump into the ditch. After this, Espen's brother entangles with him. That it is happening because of you. And Frederick has turned our enemy. Espen and his brother quarrel on this issue. But his other brother stops both of them. After this, they move ahead, taking map from Espen. Then Espen finds the skin of bear on the way. He wanted to keep it in his possession but his brothers forbid him. Now Espen and his both brothers reach a place. The place which was misty and nothing was appearing visible there. Espen does not think it and he takes his step forward. Now Espen and his both brothers are parted. Frederick and his attendant capture them as Espen's brothers are parted from him. And they ask about Espen. Espen's both brothers tell a lie here, that Espen has died. Contrarily, Espen had discovered that stream. Now he brings that sword out of that stream, moving into the stream. He encounters his brothers on the way when he returns, grabbing the sword. Who had been seized by Frederick. Now Frederick had also got the map. Now Espen goes to scare them, wearing the skin of the bear. And all people are also afraid on this. Espen was not looking anything because of wearing the bear's skin. Due to this, she falls down. Now Frederick has known that, he is Espen. Now Frederick asks him the way which leads to that Mountain King monster. Espen says to him on this, "What will you do after rescuing Kristin?" Frederick tells him, "I have already told you that. I just need the castle of Kristin. Afterwards, I will kill her." They hear a voice at night when they are taking meal there. Due to this, Frederick and his attendants run from there. And Espen and his brother also begin to escape from there. The Mountain King monster had arrived there. It victimizes one of Frederick's attendants. On the other side, Espen hides himself along with his brothers in a cave. And Mountain King monster comes to its cave, taking Frederick and Espen's brother. And Frederick is very afraid, coming here. When he observes Princess Kristin in the cave, then he says to her, "I have come here to rescue you." But Espen's brother tells everything to Kristin. He tells Kristin that Frederick is telling a lie. He will kill you after the marriage. And he just wants your castle. Knowing it, Kristin knocks Frederick down after hitting a bone on his head. Now Kristin questions him, "Who are you?" He tells on this that I am the brother of Espen.